The following video falls under copyright law protection. If you're an avid Halloween fan such as myself, you probably know that by the time this video uploads, there are definitely less than 120 days until Halloween. Well, that's because I wanted to do weekly uploads, and I started last Thursday, but I also didn't just want to do 2 movies in the first video, so this one will have 9 movies in it, so I'm very excited. This started out as me wanting to find... I want to retcon that a little bit. There's definitely more than 9 movies in this, and I even review the first season of American Horror Story. So that was written way before I started this whole project. Anyway, this started out as me wanting to find movies that scare me, but I fear that I'm unscarable. Now it's just an excuse to watch horror flicks with my buddy. He gets to watch my live reactions to the movies that he recommends to me. These reviews are also written in a way where I reference the timestamps and time left, so you can either watch the movies with me and get my opinion on the scenes that stuck out to me, or read my reviews after and go back and see what scenes I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to talk about each movie in a spoiler-free way, unless it's like a classic movie, and then I'm gonna obviously talk about all the details. But because you might want to go see it. I'm also going to have a spookometer. Each movie will get a score based on the following criteria. 1, originality. How many tropes it has in the movie is a big concern of mine. Immersion. Do I feel like I'm part of the characters enduring this? Gore for gore's sake. Does the gore play into the movie, or is it just bloody to be bloody? Jump scares. In my opinion, jump scares are a cheap way for writers to scare an audience if they don't know how to write something scary. However, a well-earned jump scare can be used well. And 5, how scary it actually is. Did I feel scared watching the movie, or was I reading Naruto and making ramen for myself to have something to do? I will start each movie with a score of 5, and they will go down as I take more issues with the horror itself. Day 1, Grave Encounters. I had to watch this one on Tubi, but I'm not going to let that affect the score in any way. My big thing is I'm actually aware that I'm watching a movie. Back to that whole immersion thing, do I feel like I'm part of the movie? Documentary and found footage horror can either be really good if done right, or really bad if done poorly. I can't say for certain, as at the time that I'm writing this bit, if I will be immersed, as I'm maybe 10 minutes in, but I'm already going to have to take a point away. Let's see if Grave Encounters can redeem itself. Alright, so I'm 24 minutes in, 26 minutes in, and I will say this movie does a really good job of being suspenseful. Up until around the 26-minute mark, the whole window thing was god-awful. Okay, so obviously, I'm not live reacting as I'm watching the movie, but I believe I'm talking about the window open thing was god-awful, so the window was opening by itself or whatever. I thought that was really dumb. And the glitching camera was clearly an effect. I will say so far that we're a 4 on the spookometer, but if something doesn't change soon, we're going to drop to a 3. Alright, so at this point in the review, in the movie, I suppose I need to change my perception of horror. Perhaps I don't need to be terrified, but intrigued. It's a neat concept for a movie, but it's just not scary. My friend who recommended it to me said that I've seen too much horror and I'm just desensitized to it, which is probably true. However, if you're gonna put a movie in the suspense horror category, please make me feel like I'm in suspense. We're gonna drop down from a 4 to a 3, 45 minutes left in the film. Hopefully we can see it redeem itself. I'm gonna have to deduct a point because the scene where the bed moved on its own and the alien chittering made me laugh so hard. I remember when I was watching this movie last Friday. Was it Friday? Last Wednesday? I laughed so hard. I had to pause the movie, get up, and go do something else. I think I went to the bathroom just to like try to like calm myself down so I could actually focus on the movie. Like, I honestly, I know that the movie had a budget of $100,000, but they really could have picked a different sound effect. Honestly, all of the non-practical effects are really okay. Like low budget horror, okay. It shouldn't be hard. I shouldn't be too hard on it, but it's not to be hard on it when when I keep laughing when something non-practical happens. I have around 20 minutes left of the film, and unless something happens by the time the film ends, I'll check in on you with you then. Alright, as much as I love movies with unclear endings, this was just confusing. I'm not going to get into it, but if you know how it ends, you know why I feel this way. Also, I am morally obligated to, in every review I do, I have to mention South Park in some way. I keep thinking about that scene in the one episode where Randy kept saying, "I'm so spooked." The episode where it's a parody of the Ghost Hunter shows. But I remember that one specifically, that scene. That's all for this review. Final score on the Spookometer, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5, but a 4 out of 5 for being a good movie. If I had one major critique, it's that none of the horror aspects happened until halfway through the movie. Alright, this is post Not Clarity, me speaking here. I've come to learn that about 45 minutes, depending on the length of the film, of course, if it's about an hour and a half, around the 45-minute mark or the halfway mark, that's when horror starts to happen. Because I think what happens is a lot of horror writers say like,
"Oh, we'll make it so the audience thinks that something scary is going to happen immediately, and that's where horror falls flat."
and that's true. Don't get me wrong, horror does often fall flat if you don't build up to the horror, but you also need to get the audience engaged. Like, I shouldn't be sitting there for 45 minutes, an hour. Oh, there's a movie down here. I'll talk about it when I get there, but it was an hour and a half before the actual plot kicked in, and it was only a 2-hour movie. Well, we'll talk about that movie when we get there. But, alright, so, let's talk about Grave Encounters 2. I have a rule that if a franchise is in a duology, or if the first 2 films are classics in a franchise, I gotta watch both in one day. So here's Grave Encounters 2. So I guess I'm confused so far. So it's supposed to be a show that got made into a documentary, but it's also a movie that's fake, but the show is actually real. My friend says the second movie makes the ending of the first make sense, but so far, I'm 9 minutes in and it's just confusing. Alright, 20 minutes in and we're running into the same issue as the last film. A lot of build-up, not a whole lot of horror. I can appreciate films where nothing happens as much as The Next Guy. I love The Chum Scrubber. However, if it turns into an obsession horror trope thing, it could be really good, but we have yet to see. Alright, so I'm 45 minutes in and scary stuff starts to happen. Again, the whole we wait until around the 45-minute mark to actually do anything. And the effects in this movie aren't any better this time around, and it's just kind of boring. It feels like the directors got their feelings hurt from all the criticism that people had, and they were like,
"What if we made the same movie but made it meta? That way we can be like, was it real? Was it fake? That's for you to decide."
And then that way they can have their defenses up the second go. Anyway, the jump scare where Jerry got thrown out the window was kind of well timed. It did get me to jump a little, which is kind of all these films want from us, so I guess they did something right. I don't think the directors understand that for a jump scare to be earned, that you need to have the psychological thriller aspect down. 52 minutes in and we have the creepy child trope. We're gonna lose a point on the Spookometer, and it's not too late for them to turn it around, but considering there's 40-ish minutes left, I'm not hopeful. About an hour in, I laughed. We're down to 3 points. Scary faces and snapping necks. Oh no. Alright, I'm gonna have to give this movie a point back on the Spookometer. It's gotten really good. The special effects are really bad, but the movie is far better than the first. One of a few times where the sequel's better than the first. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to drop the score the first down to 3 out of 5, like the actual film ranking. And this one is a 4 out of 5. It's a TV show turned into a film that's a documentary about ghost sighting, and the ending of the second, which is still unclear if it's fake or real. I mean, obviously it's fake, it's a movie, but it's just dumb. But if you can look past that, it's pretty decent. Here's an issue that I have with the franchise as a whole. So, did they have a live feed of what was happening in the asylum sent to the place, the studio? Because how did they get the tapes? How did they get the tapes from the asylum if the only surviving member of the original movie never left the asylum? Alright, anyway. Beyond that, the story was extremely compelling, and I would say the series is a must-watch for found footage documentary horror fans. Final score of the Spookometer is 4 out of 5, and my final rating is also 4 out of 5. Oh, shit, I forgot to reference South Park. Okay, so, my first thought for some reason was Man, Bear, Pig, so if you can somehow tie that to this movie, there you go. Alright, Day 2, Mass of Horrors. Alright, I never want to dog anyone for being a poor actor, but this is my first horror movie where the trope of bad acting is prevalent. In the first, let me check the timestamp, 57 seconds, I'm already giggling a little bit. Bad acting isn't going to take away points, but let's see if I can stay immersed. Alright, so I don't think there's an actual script, which is fine. Every scene feels improv, but that only works if your actors can actually improv, and most can. And that's extremely clear in this film. However, with the movie, I keep thinking about the stupid bees scene. If you know what I'm talking about, where the guy just starts talking about bees for some reason, that entire scene feels like the director was like, alright, we want this to feel real. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna talk about whatever you want to talk about. Because the bees never get brought up again. Alright, sorry, this is supposed to be like one of those calm, it's a bad movie, but we'll get further into the review. Alright. However, with this movie, I watched this morning, this morning around writing it, not this morning when I'm recording and uploading, but the morning that you get it. I watched it in the morning around midnight, and the movies I'm gonna have to endure this weekend. I'm glad that this was just a dumb slasher flick that I don't really have to pay attention to. Alright, I'm 26 minutes in at this point, and there's just not much to say. The only reason I'm writing anything is because there was an ad break on Tubi. Let's see. They're doing so many tropes. If I were to list them all, this movie would be in the negatives on the Spookometer. Unless this movie can seriously pick it up soon, they're gonna be writing at a 1 out of 5. Alright, I'm just bored. I mean, I tried being immersed, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that 95% of this movie is unscripted, which can work if, the point is the movie's bad. Alright, there was a certain point when watching this film, I wondered if it was a parody film. And if so, they did a piss poor job of it. And if it's supposed to be serious, there's nothing special about it. It's a slasher body horror film that's honestly just more boring than it is scary, and more funny than it is spooky. I will say that while the VFX are bad to mid, the practical effects are pretty decent at times. I would say mid to decent. About 30 minutes into the film, my Naruto manga is looking pretty good. Alright, Jeebus Cripes. Look, I know that the horror films are known for bad acting, but The same few tropes, unnecessary gore and bad sound effects. Let me read that sentence again. Look, I know that horror films are known for bad acting, the same few tropes, unnecessary gore and bad sound effects, but, oh gosh, golly gee, give me one moment. Sorry about that. I had to save my recording so it didn't get lost. All right. Okay, I know that horror films are known for bad acting, the same few tropes, unnecessary gore and bad sound effects, but that doesn't mean the film you make has to be that. I'm sure. What the heck? What did I just open? I don't want that. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure the budget was pretty much non-existent, but I've seen better movies on $10,000. I looked it up and they had a budget around $100,000, pretty typical for a low-budget film, but it made over $5 million worldwide despite being destroyed reviews-wise. What I think happened was people heard that this movie was really bad and you have to go see it. And this was back when, like, let me actually look up when this movie came out. Horrors. House of Horrors. Release date. Okay, it came out this year. Never mind. I was gonna say, like, I know there was a time when, like, people would be like, oh, it's such a bad horror movie, you have to go see it. You have to go see it. And that was like a thing, but no, it was made in 2025. You don't have there's no excuse. All right. I, at this point, have 30 minutes left, and the film is just not good. I want it to be over so I can just find a new movie as to be a palate cleanser. I'm just bored. I've seen this all before. Body horror is just dumb if not done well. Frankly, I keep looking for excuses to not have to watch it. Gore is one of my favorite horror subgenres, but this is just bleh. Gross, if you can call it that for the sake of being gross. This is just straight up torture corn. Like, I was hoping, even though I knew it was a slasher flick, that it would be compelling, but I just want the movie to be over. Assuming that nothing else will happen in the next, 15 or so minutes, I'll check in with y'all when it's over. Okay, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. They added the footsteps in post. Every single footstep was added in post, and they didn't even line it up. Like, look, I know that editing and sound effects is hard, but, like, you run into parody movie territory when you just don't try on certain aspects. All right. Yeah, whoever did the sound effects and VFX clearly has never done them before, and that's okay. It's just disappointing, but okay. It honestly, this movie reminded me, where did I lost where I was. Okay. Whoever did the sound effects. Okay, so when I finished the movie, I don't even really remember how the movie ends. It was that bad. So I'm gonna give it a -5 out of 5 on the Spookometer and -5 out of 5 film rating wise. It's bad. I wouldn't watch it. All right, day 2.5. Welcome to a series that I'm very excited about. It's called Friday Recommendation, and my Friday recommendation is, drum roll please. Editor, add in drum rolls. I'm the editor. I'm gonna have to add in drum rolls. Okay. And my Friday recommendation is Funny Game. If you like slow burn horror, being complicit with the bad guy, and having more questions by the end than you started with, then you will love Funny Game. It's not scary in the traditional sense, but it gets a 4 out of 5 for me on the Spookometer because there were no jump scares. I was fully immersed. The gore is intentional. It's a fantastically original idea, but the scariness I felt wasn't screaming terror. It was well balanced that made you wait for a horror. I'm also going to give the movie 4 out of 5 stars ratings wise. My buddy and I agree that it could have been just a bit shorter. However, he feels like it would have been better if it was 45 minutes long. I feel like if they would have cut time on a couple scenes and dropped 15 minutes, it would have been 5 out of 5 on both. All right, day 3. Welcome to me breaking my own rule. Hindsight's 2020. I don't actually break the rule here. I just watched The Nun and Annabelle. Okay. So I was going to watch all of the Conjuring films, but they were really, 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 really bad. Like, really bad. Like, The Nun was okay. It was a fun watch. I'll probably rewatch The Nun just because of how, like, fun it was. But it was still really bad. Like, laughably bad. Oh wow, hindsight really is 2020. I have to skip like a lot of this. Okay. I don't know why I thought I would like this movie. The Nun, that is. I famously get very easily bored by supernatural horror. About 17 minutes in, and I'm just bored. My buddy who recommended this universe for my watch is the same one who recommended Grave Encounters 2, and every other movie except for Funny Game, which was my idea. The acting is fantastic. The scenery and score is amazing, but I just don't get it. What's scary about a killer nun? I'm ready for a ton of quick cuts and jump scares. You can tell that a movie's really bad if I have nothing to say. I have an hour left, so basically to sum up what's happened so far, there's a demon in the convent and the sisters are scared. This next part sounds like a bad joke, but a priest, a French-Canadian man, and a nun are called into a convent. It's your typical Entourage horror film. Think a bloodier, darker Scooby-Doo without the dog. Again, fantastic acting, boring story, fantastic director, but it doesn't feel like the world is real. I guess what I'm getting at is I'm not immersed. About 40 minutes in, there was a really dumb easily the dumbest jump scare I've ever seen with terrible CGI. Anyway, the story is getting kind of interesting. I gotta remind myself that this journey, you're gonna find that I have to remind myself of this a lot through this review, but that this journey isn't about finding a scary movie that makes my skin crawl, but it's also about finding a good films. It might not be scary, but I'm enjoying the plot so far, even if it took 50 minutes to get there. And that's the unfortunate thing. If I'm going to spend time watching a film, I want to be intrigued the whole time, not just the last 40 minutes. The movie goes from being either really good or just boring the shit out of me. The scene where the nun catches on fire was sick as fuck. It sounds like rap lyrics. Bars set ablaze like a nun on fire. Burning 752 like... Okay, let me run that back. Bars set ablaze like a nun on fire. Burning 752 like a pile of tires. Alright. The National Treasure scene, I thought that's what it was going to be, where like they had to solve a puzzle, to do all the things. No, it was just a light beam with a stupid key. It was dumb. I love puzzles in movies. Love puzzle horror. There's a reason I love the Saw franchise. I like that this and most horror films don't follow the traditional rising, falling action standard. Once the action hits, it's foot on the pedal all the way. That being said, this movie is cheesy. I don't know, the movie just got really good and there's 20 minutes left. The ending with the blood of Christ and the nun getting sucked down was a cool visual. The final score on the Spookometer is 3.5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5 for being a fun watch. I honestly felt like Stan watching this, just bored and being like, why the hell do people think this is scary? That's not how Stan talks. Alright, day 3.1, Annabelle creation. I remember as a kid, I think I referenced this episode later too, but the episode where they go watch The Wolf of Wall Street because it's rated R and it's just a dumb movie. Anyway, day 3.1, Annabelle creation. I remember as a kid kind of being afraid of dolls, so I wonder if this is gonna be scary to me. I've avoided this movie out of a childhood fear, so maybe this will be half decent. Dude, killing a kid, which is typically a horror taboo, is crazy. My jaw instantly dropped. 7 minutes in, no less. It's put a big smile on my face. Hopefully we can do better than The Nun. Okay, this movie is definitely a slow burn. I feel like I've been watching for an hour and it's only 20 or so minutes in. However, the horror did kick off way sooner than the standard, so I can't complain too much. Where's my vape? Where's my jewel, bro? Where's my jewel? Where's my jewel? Who eated my jewel? Did you eated my jewel? Okay, it's whatever. I just do this one. No, there's one on the floor. I'm gonna find it. I'll find it wherever it is. Alright, whatever. I'll find it later. Okay. Oh god. Okay, so this movie has the Pandora's box trope, and evil locked away, and the protagonist antagonist unleashes it, knowingly or not. The thing about the Pandora's box trope that a lot of people forget to do is that the original Pandora's box story is that there was an evil being in a jar. 1 second, I'm gonna have to pause my recording so I can save it. There were a bunch of evil demons in a jar, but the one thing that remained in the jar was hope, and that's how people survived. So I really think a lot of people, like, whatever they want to do, that I'm eating hot tamales. 1 second. Whenever people do this trope, they often forget about the hope, and that's really frustrating. Alright, so already this film is doing way better at spooking me than the other one, but not for the reason they intended. I'm more afraid of the owner of the house, Mr. Mullins, than I am of the doll. Jeebus, this movie is long. Somehow it's only been 10 minutes. Oh man. This movie is almost 2 hours long, and I'm sitting here wondering, why should I be scared? They should have called this movie Trope About Creation. Jesus Christ. I see every scare, and I can call the plot before it happens. Plot beats before they happen. 1 hour left, and I'm just disappointed. It makes killing off the kid feel unnecessary, just for shock value more than anything. Alright, 1 hour in, and I think I realized the issue. The creators don't understand that horror doesn't need immediate payoff. Letting the audience prepare themselves to be scared and not scaring them creates a sense of dread, doubt, and then they don't know if they need to be prepared. There are plenty of movies that do this really well, where, like, they'll, like, set up a scene to be scary, and then nothing happens. And, like, the audience sits there like, oh, I was ready for a jump scare. And then that makes the scare later on feel more earned. This movie is so bad, so unmemorable, that I don't even know if I finished it or not. So you'll find that with a lot of these movies that I started it really early, like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I would go to bed, and then I would finish it later. But apparently I don't even know if I finished this movie. There were a few scares that got me, but not because like it actually scared me, but because I'm wearing headphones and it was just really loud in my headphones all of a sudden. So I was expecting the jump, not the noise. I'm gonna call it a loss and not watch the rest of the movies, because if these two are indicative of the rest of the franchise, then there's no point. I did reference that South Park episode. The Wall Street, money never sleeps, all build up, no payoff, just disappointed, and one loud noise. If you're a fan of this channel, you know that I always reference South Park in every single review that I do, or in every video that I do. So let's go on to day 4. Okay, so the Conjuring movies just aren't my jive, my bag, if you will. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Paranormal horror doesn't help me get my rocks off. So, trusting my buddy again, I'm gonna watch Smile 1 and 2 next week, and I'll probably just watch all the Saw films. So far, it seems like a fun psychological thriller, but it was wrecked by a buddy who likes paranormal horror, so I fear that this is what it's gonna be. Fuck, this is what it is, isn't it? I should explain why paranormal horror doesn't do it for me. I grew up in the church. We got told about demons and whatnot. Sorry about that. I've been part of exhuming a building before. I actually kind of have a neat story about this on my Reddit. There's a story I wrote about a cult, and in that story I tell the story of cabin number 3. Also, I get paid $1 every time I say the word story. This was a story that I was told every year at camp. I can't tell I can't tell it as well as they did, but the story goes that at the end the kid becomes cabin number 3. And if you actually went to cabin number 3 in the camp, carved on the wall was written, I don't remember the kid's name, but James is cabin number 3. And the place had darkness about it. I remember sitting around the fire. We were watching the fire burn, and in the fire there was an upside down cross being burned into one of the logs, and I swear I could see like demonic spirits all around. So it got to a point where my buddy Chance and I spent an hour with our Bibles praying and casting it out of cabin number 3. When we finished, the darkness was lifted. You could feel the darkness was gone. I've spent my life plagued by my own demons, whether spiritual or literal, and it's just hard when I know that the depictions in these movies aren't real. That's not how a demon-possessed person acts. I guess the unknown terrifies me more than the known. Don't get me wrong, the story is compelling, and I'm gonna finish it. I love the trope where obsession turns into a nightmare. It's done really well here, the mental unraveling, the pacing. I did mention that the last movie, the Spookometer, was 1 out of 5, and the movie rating was 5 out of 5 for Trope of Bell, right? Okay. Sorry about that, I couldn't remember. Anyway, I got real bad ADHD. Anyway, so don't get me wrong, the story is compelling. I'm gonna finish it talking about Smile 1. I love the trope where obsession turns a person into a nightmare. It's done really well here. The mental unraveling, the pacing, take the paranormal out, and it's a great movie. I think the whole what's real, what isn't is a neat angle. I feel like this movie would be better as a show. Really build up the dread. Don't tell me immediately that it's a demonic spirit. I feel like this could have been an amazing early AHS season, and that's like high praise. So this might be the film analyzer in me, but this movie is less about abject horror and more about overcoming trauma, and I think it's a neat idea. So on the Spookometer, we're running 3 out of 5, and the overall rating is 4 out of 5. Alright, Smile 2. Since my buddy wants me to review this so badly, and for context, like I said before, he watches my live reactions, so I was just giving him shit there. He would not leave me alone about, because I started this movie. Alright, it took me, all day long to, finally get the mental energy to, sit down and watch this movie. So, yeah. 20 minutes in, it's pretty much the same as the last one, but with a different chick. This time, instead of a doctor, it's a pop star. I feel for her, though. She's clearly hurting, and that sucks. Drug addiction is no joke, and then going from that to being a victim of the Smile entity, I would admit myself into a hospital immediately. Act up, freaking out at every opportunity, so I get strapped down, meds forced down my throat, and my brain turns into putty. Not to be that guy I could beat the villain, but that's how I would beat the villain. Alright, I'm an hour in, and there's just nothing going on. The last movie had originality, at least. My issues with that movie, like I said before, and I think I'm gonna say this a lot, but my issue is that the movie would work way better as a show. season 1 is about the doctor losing her mind slowly, and maybe mid-season the audience learning that it's supernatural in nature. And then season 2, we get the pop star, and then you could honestly probably do like 4 or 5 seasons of the show. I would watch every season. Like, a lot of horror, just like there's just not enough time to do the horror well, and I think that's what AHS really figured out. Like, imagine if American Horror Story season 1 was a movie, how bad that would be. Anyway, because of the plot twist and stuff like that, it's insane. Alright, I have a little less than a half an hour left, and at this point I'm ready to get on to watching a TV show, a horror show. So they did a good job with the Joker mindfuck, like, is what I'm seeing real, or is this fake? Overall, this is a fun mindfuck movie, interesting concept. I love the whole thing. The score, the visual, the whole smile thing is a little cheesy, but great body horror. I would say a solid 4 out of 5 on the Spookometer. Yeah, 5 out of 5 for being a good film. Oh shit. All these people. Oh, I can't spoil it. Okay. Watch the movie and you can see like why I gave it 5 out of 5 just for the concept. Or the ending anyway. Alright. So day 5. We're already on day 5? Holy crap, no way. Let me look. Day 3. Yeah, it's day 3. That was day 4. Oh, I also need to do a South Park reference. Let me think. I don't know. I'm saving one for later because I know that I haven't referenced that episode yet. So, if you guys don't mind, I'll probably just do. First thing that comes to mind is Human Centipede. So, actually, no. The episode where somebody destroyed all of Eric's toys, and then it turns out that it was Cartman all along that did it. Yeah. All right. 1 second. All right. So, day 5 is Long Legs. It's supposed to be in one of Nicolas Cage's best performance in recent years, is what I thought when I first started reviewing the movie, but I realized that it's actually in the next movie, Color Out of Space. Oh man, I can't breathe. Alright. Nope, I already read that part. If I recall correctly, this is a creepypasta or r/no sleep story. And upon looking it up, I Am a Liar and a Fool. It's a totally original story that I'm conflating with the story Camp Oakwood. This looks like one of those pretentious Tarantino, Glazer, Wes Anderson, circle jerk film students' first movie films, and I mean that in the best way. It reminds me of Asteroid City and The Chum Scrubber if they were about paranormal entities. There was a framed photo of Bill Clinton at the timestamp 1506, which makes sense as the movie takes place in the 90s. There was something neat here. At the very beginning of the movie, I didn't realize the opening scene that was Nicolas Cage, because he had such a weird voice. Anyway, that's not the point. But I could hear Daddy Cage's voice around 15-20 minutes into the movie, and I'm super excited. I haven't seen a Nicky Cage film in forever. As far as paranormal crime thriller goes, this is one of my favorite genres. The way it's shot reminds me of Funny Games. A lot of wide shots, long silences, whole minutes of time where no one is saying anything. Well, minus the key difference that Funny Games happens pretty linearly, while this one has time jumps. I'm gonna give it props for drawing out dread. So far, no jump scares, no creepy kids, just dread. The plot follows an FBI agent who's following the case of a serial killer named Longlegs. Nicolas Cage plays Longlegs in the film, however, we're 30 minutes in and we've only seen him once. It reminds me of Death Note, but if we didn't get to see Light's perspective. Speaking of Death Note, this video is sponsored by your dad. Your dad. I'm now a sugar baby pay pig oink oink. I let him fuck me real good and he gives me money. What the fuck? Okay. I don't know why I said that. It's not true. Very happily married. Anyway, this film is third of the way done, and I'm hooked. Line and motherfucking sinker. Crime thrillers really know how to get me off. I love getting to solve the case with the detectives. All the clues are laid out for you, and you get to try to solve it with them. However, like most horror films, I feel like they work better as a show. It's the same reason that American Horror Story got a revival a couple years ago. People love interconnected anthologies. It's one of the reasons that the Bible is the best-selling book of all time year after year. Supposedly, that's what I was always told in the church. Whether that's true or not, I'm not gonna look up. Anyway, now where a lot of movies falter is when they start killing off characters too early or too late. None of the main characters have died yet, and we're at timestamp 41:29, but this is usually when they do start dying. Considering that that we're almost halfway through the film at this point, this is where most movies tend to start doing just that, or when the horror elements really start to ramp up, as I've talked about before and will probably talk about again. I guess this movie is kind of a Silence of the Lambs fanfic. It was heavily inspired by that movie. 45 minutes in, we finally get to see Daddy Nick for the second time. He has so much makeup and stuff on that I didn't recognize him when he was first in the scene. I actually had to go back and be like, that is Daddy Kit. He has so many prosthetics on. It's wild. Anyway, we're halfway through this point, and I'm happy as peaches to report that I love this movie so far. I might have been thinking of Color in Space when I was thinking about the Nicolas Cage praise. I honestly think that this is one of his weaker movies. Not only is he hardly in it, but it's also so little screen time that his performance is overshadowed by Maika Monroe, who kills it as the autism pill detective. I'm watching the interrogation room scene, and I'm excited to see two powerhouse actors go at it. I can't believe that Daddy Cage killed himself. Kind of the whole reason I wanted to watch this movie was Father Nick, but there's only 15 minutes left, so I may as well see it through. This very much felt like they should have either picked paranormal doll horror or paranormal crime thriller, because the doll angle could have worked if it would have been more important in the beginning of the story. And as far as horror goes, this was a pretty standard Devil Made Me Do It horror story. Nothing I've never seen before. I would say it's fairly decent though. 3.5 out of 5 on the Spookometer and 5 out of 5 for the film rating. It felt like they stitched 3 films into one and said, what if this was a film about a Satanist doll maker who kills people on their birthdays, and the main girl is psychic, but we don't do anything with that except for reference it a couple of times. But it's also framed as a crime thriller, so audience think they're watching a horror version of Psych. If this would have been dragged out into a 10-episode hour-long show where they're trying to solve who did it and drop more hints, that it was the mom. Okay, I'm spoiling it. It was the mom helping Longlegs, and she plays such a minor role that the spoiler doesn't feel like anything or the plot twist doesn't feel like anything when it happens. I don't know. I was just really disappointed by this movie in general. Just to be clear, I'm only harsh on the films that I like. Films that I don't like get scathing reviews. I pick apart things I care about and smash the things I don't like into pieces. I also want it to be clear that I did like this film a lot, but I'm just disappointed in it. You can have it both ways, because that's what my dad would tell me whenever I fucked up. I love you. I'm just disappointed in you. All right. South Park reference. We gotta figure it out. I don't know why I stopped doing the references, because now I'm put on the spot where I have to figure out a South Park reference. Okay, the Pee-Pee's Water Park or whatever. Oh, 1 second, my stinking cat, dude. All right, yeah, the Pee-Pee's Water Park or whatever, that episode, could have been really good, but it was just dumb. All right. All right, day 6, A Color Out of Space. Another Nick Cage movie, but this time he's in space. Okay, so no, he's not in space. I was just deciding that he was in space. He was not in space in this movie. Random thought, but the phrase "po buddy's nerfect" makes me want to eat drywall. Has nothing to do with the movie, but I thought I would share. So after a meteorite lands in the front yard, oh yeah, this review's really long. No, it's not. One of the movies I watched was really long. And really rambling. Actually, no, it was this one. Okay. After a meteorite lands in the front yard of their farm, Nathan Gardner and his family find themselves battling a mutant extraterrestrial organism that infects their minds and bodies, transforming their quiet rural life into a technicolor nightmare. I stole that description from Google, and it's a lie. Okay, you'll find out why it's a lie towards the end of the review. But I did steal that plot synopsis from Google. So it reminds me of an audiobook that I heard that was about a bunch of meteorites crashing on Earth and people fighting aliens. I hated it because the main character narrated everything, and it took me out of the story the entire time. You would hear them talking, and I'd be like, oh, this is so cool. I looked at her, and her blonde hair was covered in blood, and it's like, oh, dude, don't tell me, say it. Say it to her, oh, shit, your hair, it's covered in blood. They were literally doing the audio equivalent of telling, not showing. Anyway, speaking of taking me out of the story, everyone talks so weird. Not a goddamn person talks like the people in this movie. I don't know. I'm just jaded. I kind of just wanted an easy horror movie that isn't trying to be special or do anything new. I know I complain a lot about originality, but the movies that are unoriginal have to have 15 things going on. What happened to the simple slasher flick? Dude with a machete kills a bunch of teenagers, some man with an axe killing a bunch of campers. Maybe I just want to watch Friday the 13th, I guess. Nicolas Cage needs to do more horror roles. Seriously, this guy can do anything from comedy to drama to horror, but I love a scary Cage. However, he plays the loving dad in this film, and I'm here for it. This feels like a made-for-TV movie, but I think it said that it was a Shudder original or something. There are clear spots where the ads are supposed to go, but Tubi puts their ads there, and they don't time them with the actual breaks. So, the movie would, stop, and then, wait a couple seconds, then the ad would hit, instead of, them. They could have, it's on their platform. They could have cut out, the commercial ad breaks from Shudder and then just, put in the mid-rolls. But that's just more of a complaint with Tubi than anything. I honestly thought it was kind of cute. It kind of reminded me of watching movies as a kid with my family. I think it's hilarious that a meteorite crashed in his backyard and Nicolas Cage's character... I'm halfway through the film, by the way. And Nicolas Cage's character is worried about his alpacas. I don't know. This is definitely one of his weaker performances. at this point, like, we're seeing like Cage go from like just being kind of an alcoholic to like kind of just losing his mind. It's interesting, but it's definitely one of his weaker performances. But I'm pretty sure the chick from American Horror Story is in it, or someone looks like her. Okay, I looked it up. It's someone that looks like someone else. Anyway, Nicolas Cage is tapping into his Ben Gates from National Treasure, but a crazier version of the character, and it's great. He's doing that 0 to 100 German acting thing. He does a German expressionism, adds in a little bit of surrealism, and then nouveau shamanism, which is a term that he coined. Basically, the idea is going from, like I said before, 0 to 100 to 0. It's fantastic, and honestly, I'm so fucking here for it. Alright, I am laying down my bear trap. At least 3 of the family members are going to die. Here's a little minor complaint that I have. What the fuck happened to weird sci-fi? Like, shit, we're at the end. It was all the corporation at the end of the movie eating everyone, and the giant metal space ball was the real friends we made along the way. Now it's just intro family, aliens are introduced, dad goes insane, dad kills everyone, the end. Alright, timestamp 1096. There's already someone about to die. At least 2. Okay, shit. I take it all back. This movie is wild. So, the mother being melded into the son was a wild move. It's actually insane how good that looked. Like, the CG actually looked really, really good. However, I'm still waiting for the aliens to show up so Nicky Cage can fight them. Okay, I cheated. I did a little scrubbing. That you don't actually get to see any of the aliens in the movie, but there is demonic witchcraft shit, so I guess that's cool. Okay, I really want to spring my bear trap. The movie keeps hinting at it. I want it so bad. I just know that Papa Meat and Wendigoon would be so ecstatic to have one of their fans get their own snap moment. I mean, honestly, it was Creepcast that kind of inspired me to do these videos. Oh, alright, so the little boy died. That's 1 paw, 2 more. Dude, if I can get it to where 4 members die, I'd say that's an absolute win. Alright, I'm fucking calling it. Aliens introduced, dad goes insane. He doesn't kill everyone, yet there's 30 minutes left, so we can find out. Okay, I lied. I have about 15 minutes left. I don't know where I got the 30 minutes. Oh shit. The daughter's gonna die. She's gonna get eated. Going from paranormal to psychological is a brave move. Alright. At 1:32:45, I got my motherfucking bear trap, baby. 3 members dead, let's fucking go. Then a few minutes later, oh shit, 4 members dead. I called it. The only member of the family left alive is Lavanya, and there's only 9 minutes left. Okay. If you don't know what a bear trap is, it's basically just like calling something. So like earlier when I was like, oh, 3 members are gonna die, or like if all 4 members could die, that'd be a win. That's a bear trap. I got my bear trap. I called it 3 members dead. Alright. So this ending is being drug out for some reason. Like, honestly, I feel like it should have ended 10 minutes ago. I don't need all this psychedelic, like, we want the movie to look cool one last time before we die shit. So just fucking end it. We get it. The world is ending. There's a new portal to hell. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. During this review, I think I was watching at like 2 a.m, so like it's really sporadic and all over the place. Like I definitely should have waited until later in the day to watch it, but it's too late now. All right, so the entire family is dead. Bear trap. And Spookometer rating 4 out of 5, movie 3 out of 5. Obligatory South Park reference. There's that episode in South Park where they all go to hell, and it turns out the only people going to heaven are the Mormons. I don't know how there's any movie left at this point except for everyone except for Ward is dead, and I didn't even remember his name until just now. Alright, and at 1:45:43 they said the name of the thing. I think they're setting up for a sequel, but it's been 6 years since the movie was made, so I doubt a sequel is coming anytime soon. Alright, day 7, Bone Tomahawk. Now, I don't mind westerns, they're usually not my jive, but my buddy wrecked this to me, and he knows westerns. I was hoping to learn some native folklore, as he is native, he's Apache. It's not his whole personality, but it's something that he's proud of. This movie is a little slow, like we get introduced to the horror, where the horror in this film was coming from in the first 10 minutes, and since then we've gotten really to know the characters. However, I love slow burns as much as the next guy. I was a big fan of funny games. You know, the X scene went on for like 30 minutes, and I was fine with that. But this is just long. 52 minutes in, we haven't even got to the meat of the plot yet. It's just dragged on so long. I can't even tell you anyone's names, but I can tell you the main guy looks like he could be Elon Musk's cousin. Something I noticed is the absolute lack of music. One second, I'm gonna pause my recording so I can save it. The last thing I want to do is record for a really long time and then like not be able to save anything. That would really suck because I've been recording for some time now. Let's see, how long have I been recording for? Is there not a way to look? Yeah, I've been recording for an hour. So, oh gosh, I really hope that it recorded things. I'm gonna be really frustrated if it didn't. All right. The fun, yeah, I got really nervous because I was looking over like my recorded data and it like stuff like the audio lines weren't there, and I was like, did I just record an hour for nothing? No, it's fine. All right, so he really knows westerns, blah blah blah. And I'm halfway through this film and I'm failing to see where the horror is. It just feels like a normal western. I've complained many times about before that horror writers don't know how to pace, and clearly they don't in this movie. I hope they pick it up soon, or I'm going to check out entirely. This was one of the movies that I struggled to finish. It took me all day to do it. I was just avoiding it the entirety of the day. So, and the most interesting part of this movie is when we're a decent chunk into it and they decide that they're gonna cut off this guy's leg. I think we were like halfway through at that point. So I'm losing my voice. Okay, so the interesting part of this movie so far is when they decide that they're gonna cut off this guy's leg. He had injured his leg a while ago. It's really hard to describe the plot of this movie, because like they go from one thing to the next. You think it's just gonna be like this racist western, which is like wild that they would like I understand for like historical accuracy's sake, yeah, probably gonna be a lot of like blatant racism, but at the same time like this just felt like they were too afraid to like go all the way with it. Like if you're going to include racism in your movie, go all the way. Like, don't just chicken out last minute. Anyway, I say all that because we finally get to the cave scene, which is, I guess, like the most famous scene in the movie, and there is the slur moment in this scene, so that was jarring. I guess it's not really a slur, but it's like definitely something like if somebody were to say that like in 2025, like call a native person, you'll be able to hear me. I'm gonna be reading the conversation out loud that I had with my buddy, but where they meant I'll just read the conversation. Okay, this is me. Okay, I don't ever use this word. I don't use slurs, especially when I have a friend who might be affected by that slur, but they kind of make the natives look like savages. And then my buddy said, back in the day, We were. And then I said, and not savages in like a, dude, that's savage, but in like a bad way where like white people used to use it. And then my buddy said, I think it's really important to also see the development we had. I like this movie because it's of that the he basically says that they were a peace tribe, but this movie showcases a time where they weren't. And then I said, oh, so this is about Apaches then? He said natives as a whole. There were little to no tribes back then. And then I was genuinely curious. I said I thought tribes were at war with each other frequently. And then he said, we were also starving back then, but I think that this movie depicts a time before that, referring to like when like the tribes were all broken up. In conversation. So I hate hating on a movie that my friend connects with on a heritage level. I will admit that it's very good, but at the horror aspect where they choose to put it in, and hey, I learned something about my best friend's culture. Assuming he's not fucking with me. If he is, I kind of look like a racist asshole. I have 14 minutes left, and I definitely wouldn't put this film in the Western horror category. I would definitely say Western thriller at most, and Western gore at least. Yeah, definitely thriller. 7 minutes left. This movie is getting kind of decent, which sucks because there's only 7 minutes left. I'm glad I watched it, so I could say that I watched it. The entire movie had like zero music in it, which is a fantastic choice. Not a lot of horror films do that. A lot of them do rely very heavily on music to make their scenes scary. So my final score is 2.5 out of 5 on the Spookometer and a 4 to 5 film score wise. Did I do a Spookometer for... Yeah, I did do a Spookometer. Okay. I was really worried that I haven't been doing Spookometer. I have been recording for an hour. My brain's starting to turn to mush a little bit. The South Park reference that I wanted to make, I think I already referenced this earlier, but it's a human centipede, because my buddy and I talked about it while I was watching this movie. The movie Human Centipede, that is. Stupid stinking cat, 1 second. Alright, I have 5 pages of notes left, so let's try to grind through this. Alright, normally I avoid trailers because I feel like they either lie about what the movie's about or they spoil the whole second and third act. A trailer is meant to pique my interest, make me want to see the movie, not spoil the entire thing. The same buddy who has wrecked every movie so far except for Funny Games told me about this movie that's coming out. Bambi, The Reckoning. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a laugh. Not only is it campy, it looks bad. It's from the same guys who did the Winnie the Pooh horror flick, and they gotta know it's bad, right? Like, using old Disney properties isn't the move. The trailer makes it out to seem that Bambi is back, but this time for blood. The CG is decent, the effects are bad, and I'm so ready for a cheap laugh and... Sorry. I am, I've been recording nonstop for an hour. I'm not used to talking this long. The CG is decent, the effects are bad, and I'm so ready for a cheap laugh and 90 minutes of nothing. Can't wait for it to come out. Alright, Day 8, Late Night with the Devil. I've heard nothing but good things for this movie, and this might be the first film on the list that I remember seeing an ad for. Not typically a fan of found footage documentary horror. If you can remember my review of Grave Encounters, I hardly can. For you, it was half an hour or so ago, actually. Let me see. Oh, Jesus. One of my other cats. Never mind, my cat walked away. Okay. Let me actually see how long I've been recording for. I'm curious. How do I check that? I saw it earlier. A while. For you, it was about an hour or so ago. For me, it was a week ago. Yeah. A long week. I've watched a lot of horror during this time, both good and bad, but nothing has gotten that 5 out of 5. Now, I'm hoping this movie can get the coveted 5 out of 5 rate on the ratings and the Spookometer. I was kind of disappointed by the plot synopsis. Was kind of hoping that it was going to be about, Late Night with the Devil, an interview with the devil. This still has a shot to be good. I'm hopeful. I mean, it was made on Shudder, so I'm not expecting the acting to be amazing, but the acting so far is fairly acceptable. There's a guy in the audience wearing a devil outfit that looks just like my dad, like scared, like uncannily like my dad. Like I thought about texting him and asking him if he was in this movie. That's how much he looked like him. I really should be wearing my glasses. Alright, so there was a part in the movie where one of the guys, Carlisle or something like that, mentions Ed and Lorraine in Amityville in the movie, and it turns out that those stories are just public domain, which is a neat thing to learn. It seems like the movie does a really good job of putting real world events and people in the film. Okay, I take it back. The actors are incredible. Lily's actor is fantastic at being fake nice and unsettling. Oh man, the Spookometer is staying steady, and ladies, gentlemen, and my buddy, let me tell you, we're at 4.5 out of 5, and if it keeps it up, this is going to be the first 5 out of 5 on that Spookometer. We're only 43 minutes in. I'm nervous to say it, but he already wanted to give it the 5 out of 5. Alright, it's only been a couple more minutes, but we are riding 5 out of 5 now. Let's see if this film can keep it up. Right now, Lily's acting, along with Jack's actor, is carrying the film. Everyone else is kind of weak. It definitely doesn't take away from the horror. I am thoroughly spookified. And alright, we're at the timestamp 55:08. We're entering the possession scene. This is where things could get really bad or really good. Dare I say, break the Spookometer? Alright, this is just a nitpick of mine. Why do people ask to speak to demons and they say please and be polite? You gotta be firm, commanding. Please don't mean shit to a demon. Fucking cat, dude. Okay, either it's the fan blowing directly above me or it's the goosebumps I just got from watching the possession scene. 7 out of 5 on the Spookometer. Consider me spooked. Now, normally paranormal horror doesn't get me, but demons do. I've mentioned, I think to my buddy, that demons spook me, ghosts not so much. Ghosts are easily dealt with. Ghosts want to move on. Demons, they like to stay. I know, I'm a walking contradiction, and I like to stay that way. Alright, this is amazing. This is some of the best horror I've ever seen. We have 11 minutes left of the film. Okay, I do have to admit that some of the special effects and practical effects are to be desired. However, it's quite amazing what they can do, what I'm assuming is on a small budget. It was made by Shudder. Alright, still at 11 or so minutes left, and I do want this movie to be over so I can go to bed. This movie is an amazing mindfuck movie. We just watched everyone get slaughtered, and now they're alive again. And then, not to spoil everything, but they get slaughtered again at the end. I really do think this movie should have ended right before the mindfuck bit. Like, him walking out again was fine, but all this extra shit is just too much. I'm still giving her a 7 out of 5 on the Spookometer, but she's stuck at a 4 or 5 on the rating scale because this is just cheesy. Although, if they do pull through in the last 4 minutes, then we can get a 5 out of 5 and in the 9 on a perfect score. No cheating, though. My knees are doing that thing where if I stay up too late, they start to retain water, so I gotta power through the last 2 minutes. If we got... okay, never mind. Ignore everything I just said. Jesus Christ. The ending was insane. I take everything back. 7 out of 5 on the Spookometer and on the ratings. This is just a must watch if you haven't seen it. Alright. Now we have to get through... Oh, so much more. I don't wanna... Okay. I wrote all of this, so let's power through it.
Bonus. So I decided that every week I'm going to watch one season of the classic horror show American Horror Story, and I'm very excited as I've only seen Murder House and Asylum, so let's get into it with Murder House. However, if you're looking for an in-depth review, this is not it. If you want that, I'm sure there are plenty of other YouTube channels that do that. For me, I'm really just giving some light details and snappy reviews, talking about what I like and don't like. Just one more thing, if you decide to watch it with me, you can get my opinions on it. Episode 1. I'm not as scared as I was hoping to be so far. Diminishing returns, I guess. I hate the time cuts back and forth. It's a trope that I find to be more jarring than interesting. Now, this is a show that knows how to use quick cuts well. I think it's fascinating that other movies do the flashing light, quick cut thing, and it just comes off as cheesy. The showrunners really know how to create something that is, or would be, if I was in a horror vet, terrifying. This is not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to say about this episode without giving spoilers, so I won't spoil it. However, if you like paranormal horror, it's not my thing. Doesn't really get me off like that, but I could see how this would be really good. Episode 2. Not to just straight up glaze over this show. While it's not scaring me, I think the showrunners know it won't scare horror vets, but that the story will drive viewers to keep watching. I've seen all this stuff before, so it's not scary, it's just a well-made show. Like, it's just so good. I'm not going to spoil things if you want to watch the show and haven't seen it. Future things, that is. As the episodes go on, I will go into more details, and plot twist, I don't. I love how the others, not the family, but the neighbors, housekeeper, and Tate all protect the family. Episode 3, I know that I'm not going into a whole lot of detail, but this is really one of those shows you have to watch and analyze for yourself. One note that I do have is that for the early 2000s, this is the early 2000s, so television didn't really know how to utilize gay characters. The show does make an attempt to do this well, but as most shows, even more modern ones don't know how to handle the culture. Gay men aren't just props. I know that expectations were back then that gay men on television had to be a certain way. Fruity, fighting, and fabulous. Truth is most gay men or butch, calm, and gross. I speak from experience. Episode 4, Halloween. I think this show utilizes Halloween very well. This is a horror episode. Plenty of body horror to go around, and that's neat. I love horror, and I know that eventually... gosh, golly gee, I'm so sorry. I was going so fast. I'm just so ready to quit recording. For the Late Night with the Devil, for some reason I just kept thinking about the episode where the devil is dating Bin Laden. Halloween. I think the show utilizes Halloween very well. This is a horror episode. Either way, Evan Peters is amazing and the rest of the cast is insane. Oh my god, I love how the gays go from fabulous to freaky in moments. I love how everyone in the house goes through the same cycle as their family units, based on their family units. This show is just creepy, and it deserves 5 out of 5 on the Spookometer. This show has just put its foot on the gas and went from 0 to 100 in moments. Every scene is intriguing and wonderfully planned out. I also love that the show doesn't sit you down and explain things to you. It allows you to piece everything together in your own time. This show is a masterclass in psychological paranormal horror. I know that this and the next season are really good, so I hope that the rest of the show keeps it up. Episode 5, this is an absolute classic. So much lore is dropped in this episode. We have it 100% confirmed that the people in the house are ghosts or poltergeists of some kind. Not much to say. It's more a combination of the last, or continuation of the last episode. However, is the one scene that's infamous, the scene on the beach with Tate and Violet. Particularly the scene where Tate's, let's just say, friends confront him on the beach. It's so famous that, in fact, that my wife hasn't seen this show since it came out. I have a hot MILF wife. I got cradle robbed. Get over it, losers. She was able to remember that this was Murder House off of that one scene description. I think the Halloween 2-parter is a must-watch for the show, and the next episode is Piggy. A really good episode. I don't want to spoil anything. You'll have to watch it for yourself. Episode 7, Open House. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop. Okay. The show never ceases to amaze me. It's so fresh constantly. This is a good show. It's a little tropey at times, but it utilizes tropes very well. I almost don't even want to review the show. It's so good. I just want to enjoy it. Things are finally ramping up, and I'm so excited to see the season through. However, I will be sad to say goodbye to the season as I'm past the midway point. Episode 8, Rubber Man. It sucks that the show is ramping up only now. I gotta make a point. I got to a point in making dinner where I can step away and review. Evan Peters, of course, is leading the show. He's a powerhouse. It sucks that I don't ever see him anywhere anymore. Shit. Actually, I looked it up. He's been in a ton of things. I don't watch a whole lot of stuff. Alright, it's coming to an end, and I feel like I can remember the episode 9, Spooky Little Girl. It's coming to an end, and I feel like I can remember how the show ends. We'll have to see. Spoiler, I don't remember how the show ends. I was thinking of something else entirely. All I can think about is how I don't want to say goodbye to these actors and characters. Thank God I don't have to say goodbye to Evan Peters. I think he's in every season of AHS except for 9 through 11. Look, at this point, I can't say anything more about the show without spoiling it, so please watch it for yourself. Alright, this last episode's 9 through 10. Just watch the show, please. It's amazing. It goes from dark to darker in these last 2 episodes. It left me wanting more. However, the way the show ended is just beautiful, and I couldn't have asked for a better ending. Now, there are 12 episodes in the season, and if I say anything more, it's just gonna spoil it. So please, for the love of God, go watch it for yourself. And the obligatory South Park reference. Jesus Christ. So close to being done. South Park. No, I'll have to do that one for next. The second time Cartman gets an anal probe. I don't know why, but yeah. Or there's an episode with ghosts, maybe. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm done recording. Bye. Alright, I didn't like how I ended that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked it, subscribe, like the video, and yeah, if you hated it, please let me know what I can do better next time. Bye.
Damn it, I didn't have an anal probe! Screw you guys, I'm going home.